Many cinematographers have challenged the idea of why do we need a daylight-balanced high-speed film. I can't give you a technical explanation, but there's a feeling to a daylight-balanced film that just isn't duplicated any other way. This is a day interior, and I want you to notice the curtain and how it holds detail. I love the idea that we have a curtain with that much heat on it, and we don't lose the golden factor of the morning light. Here you see the film, normal exposure, and notice the shadow side of his face, which I think is about 2 stops under, maybe even a little bit more. It will get darker in the comparison tests later. Here in the exterior, the couple leaving to go to the surf shop. I love that glowing light that's actually just a bounce light off the swimming pool. No special effects involved, but it holds so beautifully in keeping with the range of contrast that you see in this shot. Again, normal exposure. This was done at dawn, like at about 6:15 in the morning. The backlight on them is from one of our HMI lights. This film, being at 250 ASA, is holding a great range of tones. Inside, you have daylight temperature fluorescence, HMI bounce, and actual daylight. But a lot of the light is coming from the overhead fluorescent light fixtures, and this is why you spend the money to change the fluorescent globes. This is now a case where we're using HMI lights through a window to the right, which you won't see. It's covered with a diffusion material. And again, this is the 5205, and please notice the red surfboard and how it's rather a polite kind of red. The gentleman on the right, even though he's got a warm shirt, is not being affected by that color of red. This is a real challenge. We see 3 stops over on the water, 2 stops under on the people. There's a tremendous amount of fill light involved in there that helps to maintain that range. There was absolutely no digital cheating whatsoever on that shot. Notice how you see the sparkles on the water holding, and yet you can see detail inside in the people and the furniture in the living room. And here we are at the evening. We had hoped for a sunset, didn't get one, but I thought the drama of the dusk sky was wonderful with the overcast on the ocean and the people looking out. Again, it just shows the range of latitude that this film possesses. I cannot in any technical way say that the fact that it's a daylight balanced film makes a difference, but somehow it does. And when you go to shoot this film, you are dealing with it as a very natural recorder of the daylight that's available to you. This is a comparison test. This is the 5205. Notice that red surfboard. Notice the skin tones. Particularly notice Fernando's skin tone on the right, even though he's getting reflection from the red surfboard and some from his shirt. The thing that gets me about this is that if you look at that red, and that is a red. Notice when we go from this to the other emulsion, to the 5246, how he picks up red magenta. These are matched to grayscales, and there should be no difference in the print, but you'll notice how much redder the people are. It's just a little bit more red and a little bit more contrast that the older film possessed. It was very good film, but the new film, the 5205, just has a touch softer contrast and a much more normal rendition of reds. And I think it's in keeping with the other Vision2 films in terms of its color scale. And I think that as you see comparisons of exposure, underexposure, in terms of how the color goes. Now, this is the 5205 in the kitchen, normal exposure. Look at the shadow side on Fernando. Look at the skin tone there, how much detail we see in it. It's exactly what I wanted. It's just beautiful to see the stock start out with such a very, very great capture of tones and colors. It's really got a nicer scale, the new film. Here's the 5246. Notice that it's more contrasty. His skin tone is a bit more closed up on the shadow side. And again, the red saturation is a bit higher. Those are the things that you will notice. But as the films compare, look at the grain as we see the grain in his shirt and the grain on the brick on the back wall there. Notice it's less, it appears to be slightly less grainy. It's partly because of the contrast. Again, notice the amount of shadow detail that the 05 gives compared to the 46. It's just a more natural-looking film stock, and the amount of red in the skin tones is not exaggerated at all. Here we go to one stop under. This is 5205, one stop under, and it's just been printed up. There's no special processing technique. You can feel that the grain is, just a tiny, tiny bit higher, but I definitely feel the contrast getting higher. Mm. And you can see, again, on the shadow side, on Fernando on the right, how he's darker on the skin tone. Not as dark as this. This is the 5246 one stop under. And again, you can really feel the loss of detail in the shadow compared to the 05. Again, there's nothing the matter with this film. It was a terrific stock, but something new has been found. Several innovations have been placed in the new stock. As you can see, it just it has a nicer feel to it, even at one stop under. And we are certainly not recommending underexposure. We're saying sometimes it happens. Sometimes there's nothing that you can do about it. And this is what will occur if you go one stop under with 5205. 5205 two stops under doesn't seem to have gained a lot more in contrast than the one under. Again, I feel perhaps a touch more grain in the back wall, and looking at the wood panel return on the right, just camera left of the oven. On the 46, as you can see, it's more extreme in terms of what the shadow side loss is. His skin tone is still relatively good, but it certainly does not compare to the 05 in terms of the shadow side. It just blocks up more. Back to the 05, two stops under. Just the lower contrast really keeps a lot more detail in that shadow side. And again, less aggressive contrast means you don't see grain as much. Color tracking is superb. It's holding very well even at two stops under. Three stops under on the 5205. Here, I think you really feel the grain has increased tremendously. And you can see that we have lost the life in the shadow side of Fernando's face. And just generally, the texture is grainier. It's not the photographic smoothness. The 46, here it's kind of interesting because the contrast in the 46 at 3 under maybe helps it in a certain way, but it still reminds me of a very bad exploitation film release print from a number of years ago. And it's not necessary to have this again. 3 under, very extreme. Here at 05. It's just neither of the films is reproducing at its optimum, to put it mildly. It's a muddier quality to them. But it's very interesting to see with this contrast ratio how certain things track quite well even at the underexposure. It's quite an amazing thing how far the underexposure range has extended. This is a test we wanted to do where we have normal cool white tubes in the overhead fluorescence, and they walk out of those tubes and they walk into the daylight corrected tubes in a little bit of HMI fill. And this is a comparison of uncorrected fluorescent and corrected fluorescent and how it is handled. I think we'll see the same thing with the 5246. And they come out of the uncorrected fluorescent to corrected fluorescent and HMI. Notice the magenta factor. Both faces, you really feel it. It's more reddish. And again, we'll compare that to the 5205. As they come into the corrected light, we see that the color values stay very much the same. So it's why we correct the fluorescence when we can. Again, a series of images that show us just what this new increased contrast range can do. The natural color, the natural sense of where the colors fall in a variety of situations. We're taking you through daylight, fluorescence, window light, in this case from HMIs. This living room scene is one of the most acute challenges of the new stock. We're asking the film to contain the entire contrast range. Here in the end scene, we're seeing, again, the ability to carry the people from several stops under over to the railing where we're looking out, and the light on the ocean was much higher. It's an amazing, amazing film product, and it's something that I think we're all going to look forward to using. I think cinematographers testing films is something that will never end, because every time a new product is made, we want to see what it can offer us and what can we challenge it to do. This stock, 5205, just offers an awful lot of new opportunities that we just have, things we've never seen before. It's one of those things that you just love to have, a stock that can capture that range of tones and that makes film such a unique medium. And I think it's, again, one of those distinct improvements that as we use it, we'll remember. Shooting this test was a great example of what we love about testing film and how we and, say, the people in Rochester communicate by asking the film stock to do things it hasn't done before. And this is an example. I've been using the high-speed daylight balanced films since 5297. I've used the 5246, which we've looked at in comparison to the 5205. And each of those stocks has given me something that I find allowed me to be more daring in what I was going to do in the making of a film.